Welcome. I am your host, UpperNimbus, and this is Top 10 JRPG Female Villains.
Hi guys, I'm Luca from feiitogaming, and my pick is from a game I haven't played in almost 10 years. Still, I remember the female villain, who's also the main villain, quite vividly. That's how memorable she is to me. I am talking about the White Witch from Ni no Kuni. The reason why the White Witch is one of my favorite female villains and why she's so memorable to me is because her first appearance completely took me off guard. When I first played Ni no Kuni, I didn't expect a colorful game that I initially thought was made for kids to have such a dark and mysterious character pulling her strings in the background. Also, her whole attitude, the way she's calmly sitting in her throne, and her voice that made me so uneasy, made clear very quickly that she's a character I really have to fear. What's so brilliant about her is that in the first half of the game, she only shows up very rarely, so whenever she does show up, something ominous happens, and her terrifying presence gets much more weight. While the story of Ni no Kuni is great at any point, the contrast between the cheerfully happy scene and the creepy appearances of the White Witch is what really impressed me and made this female villain so memorable. I won't spoil anything here, but let me say that she's not just an evil witch sitting in her chair until you eventually kick her ass at the end of the game. Okay, well, she is evil of course because she wants a child to die, but that's not my point. The White Witch gets an interesting and dramatic background story that explains her motivations, who she really is, and the conflict she's having. So in the end, the White Witch is a fleshed out character and a great written villain that I always remember as one of my favorite villains in JRPGs. Thanks for having me, UpperNimbus. This was a ton of fun and I can't wait to hear about the next female villain. Alright guys, have a great day and until next time.
Thank you so much to Luca from feiitogaming for the White Witch / Cassiopeia from Ni no Kuni. What a fantastic pick for the start of this JRPG female villain list. I would say it's about time we checked out the next character in line.
This is Dookie03 here, and there was only one person who immediately came to mind when UpperNimbus asked me to jump into this collab. I'm of course talking about the ultimate sorceress and master manipulator herself, Ultimecia from Final Fantasy VIII. Not just a pretty face, nor a powerful force to be reckoned with, Ultimecia found a way to control multiple sorceresses throughout time and set up a series of events that allowed her to compress time. Once all time had been compressed into a single instant, she would then become one with time and space, becoming an omnipotent goddess. She's as intelligent as she is powerful, taking control of the wife of the man who created a mercenary academy designed to defeat sorceresses in an attempt to cripple their efforts. While controlling Idea, she's even able to warp through solid objects, making her one tough lady to locate at times. She's seemingly able to junction anything, but by junctioning them, she more so fuses with them instead of just harnessing their abilities, like in the case of Griever. Heck, even Griever itself was essentially ripped from Squall's mind by her, knowing it was the creature he saw and looked up to as the most powerful and courageous icon, forcing him and his friends to fight this beast like a jacked up, savage version of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. On top of all this, despite her sometimes beastly and alien appearance, Ultimecia is still an absolute babe with an impeccable interior design sense. I mean, as much as I hated Ultimecia Castle because of its intense difficulty, this place is absolutely badass looking. She likely hired one of Dracula's architects from the Castlevania series. For all these reasons, I had to pick Ultimecia as my best female JRPG villain of all time. Get it? All time. Time compression.
So that was Dookie03's choice for his female villain in a JRPG, Ultimecia from Final Fantasy VIII. What an absolute banger of a babe. Dude, that was such a solid pick, well done. So next up, we have a character that is more on the humorous side, and yeah, you might want to take a look at this one.
Hello UpperNimbus, thank you for letting me join today. Oh boy. Let's get straight to the point, shall we? I can't do any videoing without my little companion on my shoulder. She's going to be here all this time, supporting me on this video. So, let's get straight to the point. My favourite anime villain, female, would have to be Kakaletta from the game Super Mario Superstar Saga on the Game Boy Advance. Now, what can I say about her? First off, let me just show you something. I really don't want to waste any more time here, but if I rip open this ancient relic of the drawer, holy shit! My N64 just fell on me. Right, but I wanted to show you this. This is the original box art for Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. As you can see, Calculator is right there. We got a Fawful, I call him Prince Parsley, and it starts off like this. Prepare for an epic journey beyond the borders of the Mushroom Kingdom, as Mario and Luigi team up for a hilarious action-filled role-playing game. That's all I wanted to show you, really.
The company I'm going to mention very soon has 5 original titles and 2 remakes, and they did the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo, apparently. Wow, that's impressive. But Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga is always my all-time favorite. I've played it so many times! Ah yes, the beloved Alpha Dream. They were funded in 2000, but unfortunately got bankrupt in 2019. But in 2003, that's when they released Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. And that's also when Calculator herself was born to be the evil Mother of Darkness. The villain for that game has occurred. But let me explain why she's so great, and she is basically my choice for this collaboration that we're doing here. It's because that she has this raging urge to take over not only her own country, but the Mushroom Kingdom. So she wants to take over the Beaming Kingdom and the Mushroom Kingdom. But the only way to do that is to overthrow the Queen Bean herself. She is a large woman, and she is the protector of this very interesting element called the Beanstar, who can grant wishes. Calculator really wants to get her grubby hands on that, but the only way she can do that is actually using something very wholesome. She needs to steal Princess Peach's voice to sing to this wholesome thing. Long story short, she didn't get what she wanted. She got the plumbers to deal with. They were in her way, but she just basically just wanted to destroy everything, leave everything to ruin. You know, a bloody fire shower happened. She possessed Bowser and turned into this unwholesome thing. So that was very ugly at the end of the game.
And that's why she is my favorite. She's a typical evil anime villain. And I just loved how she got really pissed off when Luigi dressed up as a woman. You should really check out the game. Well, it's time for me to go. Zelda and I say goodnight and enjoy the next person. I am Sandchat with a 6 at the front and 9 at the end, signing off.
What a funny pick from 6SamChat9. Absolutely perfect choice for you, Calculator from Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. Now, we're going to move on to somebody who's a little bit more grounded and a bit more of a down-to-earth choice. Let's give it up for our next guest and buddy, ColinLack. Oh my god!
Oh, hey guys.
Sandchat?
I was exploring the scenery, but I think I got mugged by a bear back there.
Oh, okay. Well, if you just don't care, let's move on to the next video.
Thanks for having me on your channel, UpperNimbus. I was actually super excited when you told me the topic of this video. I'm going for a bit of an oddball choice here, as Arian Road, otherwise known as Leanne Sandlot, isn't technically speaking a villainous character. She is, however, an obstacle you have to overcome during Trails to Azure and in Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4. So she's presented in a villain in that sense, even though she's actually a very honorable person. So I figured I should give some background on Leanne as a character. One of her nicknames is the Lance Maiden because of her time during the War of the Lions, an event that is often alluded to during the events of the Erebonian arc. Through that lens, she is presented in a very heroic light. However, she did join a very shady organization known as Ouroboros, but I won't cover that side of the story in case you want to experience it for yourself. Needless to say, her being a member of that organization is why she is presented in a villainous light, but she remains honorable and does what she thinks is right. So why do I like her so much? It's because Leanne Sandlot is a morally complex character. She does what she feels is the right thing to do, and she has a strong moral compass when it comes to not hurting others. However, Ouroboros has some absolutely vile people amongst its members, so she definitely has a darker side we don't really see. I love that Falcom touched on it while still making her a likable character. In Trails to Azure, when you face off against her, she's doing it because she was asked to fight you, not because she wants to cause you pain and suffering. And it's revealed after you fight her why she wanted to test your mettle, so to speak. As for her reasons for, technically speaking, being villainous in the Erebonian arc, I won't cover that as it spoils a lot of the Cold Steel games. But needless to say, she has a good reason for doing what she's doing, and she manages to do that with a refined dignity. That's hard to find in characters who are often portrayed in a villainous light. Overall, she isn't really evil, but she is a compelling villain because she's so complicated and because she's always one of the hardest bosses you go up against in the game she does appear in. That makes her a memorable character, and her design is super cool. As a whole, I think Leanne is one of the best written characters in the Trails franchise, though she is a woman of few words. If we had a game from the perspective of Ouroboros that took place during one of the previous arcs, I imagine the storyline from her perspective would have made her a great protagonist. But the qualities that make her a great protagonist make her an amazing antagonist, which is ultimately what she is. An antagonist, but one whose morals and values closely resemble a hero. Thanks for having me on, UpperNimbus. I hope the video performs well, and I'm really excited to see some of the other picks from the other creators. I hope we can do more videos together in the future.
So that was ColinLack's choice for a female villain from a JRPG, Ariane Road from the Trail series. Such a solid pick, my dude. Absolutely loved your choice. Very awesome. Now, continuing with the somewhat noble medieval themes of a female villain, next up is RetroMania's choice. You might want to check this one out. She's a personal favorite of mine.
Reach for my hand, I soar away into the dawn. Oh, I wish I could stay. Oh wait, the microphone is still on? Oh hi, it's me RetroMania, and judging by this intro, most of you probably know which female antagonist I choose for my part. Yes, I'm obviously talking about Annette. She forced Ingrid to put up makeup underneath this cute innocent baby girl lies some monster. Monster, I say. Okay, let's get serious again. I obviously choose Edelgard for Fire Emblem Three Houses. The song you heard at the beginning of this part, it's actually a song what it's sung from Edelgard's perspective. Once you understand this much, the lyrics inside this song make a lot more sense. However, even though I put Edelgard in this top list, I must clarify something. I don't think Edelgard is actually the villain in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now you probably think that I'm talking about the ones who slither in the dark, but no. Now you maybe think that I'm referring to the alien god lolly, but no, I'm not referring to the alien god lolly. Also yes, Three Houses has an alien god lolly. Don't ask questions. The true evil, the true antagonist in Three Houses are humans themselves, aka society, aka humanity. But obviously a game needs an opposing force in a human aka character form, and thus Edelgard comes in play. Humanity's dark side created Edelgard because the ones who slither in the dark made experiments on her. That's why Edelgard's hair is white. Not because my anime, but because she is about to literally die. Because of these experiments, her life force was cut down so that she can wear a crest. I will not explain what crests are or why they are alien god lollies and who the ones are who slither in the dark. For this you have Three Houses lore videos to understand and appreciate the complex, huge and lore heavy narrative of Three Houses. I already mentioned her short lifespan because she will die soon because of these experiments. She was forced to start a war. She started a war what took thousands of lives, just so that she can get rid of crests and the weapons associated with them. She wanted to prevent more children from suffering from the consequences of wearing a crest. What it's a noble goal, but her actions are very drastic.
her stepbrother Dimitri wanted to talk her out of it, maybe even find a peaceful way, peaceful conclusion of dealing with the crests. But because of Edelgard's short lifespan, she didn't have time for decades-long plans and acted harshly. And yeah, this is the tragic tale of Edelgard, one of the best female villains in video game history. Thanks again for UpperNimbus for inviting me on his channel, and I wish you all a wonderful day. See ya!
So Edelgard from Fire Emblem Three Houses was RetroMania's choice for female villain in the JRPG. Dude, I'm with you there, man. I love Edelgard so much. She is such a babe and she is kick-ass. But we do have to move on to the next guest and their choice in character. Funnily enough, this next character is also a babe and somebody that I was eyeing quite a bit. Take a look.
Here is my submission to the collaboration I was invited to that is based on the top female villains in JRPGs. I'm about to tell you a very tragic backstory about Lusamine, a Pokemon villain you might be familiar with, or maybe you might learn some more in this video. Let's start, shall we? Lusamine was first introduced in Sun and Moon as a leader of the Aether Foundation early in the game. While the Aether Foundation is shown to be a rescue organization to give Lost or her Pokemon of any region a home, there is a slight hints that there is a dark, alternative motive within the organization. Ooh. During the cutscene where Nihilego suddenly appears in front of Lusamine, she has declared that she will love this Pokemon, which slowly drives her recession with the Ultra Beast to a breaking point. Lusamine had a loving family with her husband, Professor Mon, and her two children you met in-game, Lily and Gladion. Who remembers them? During a botched study of the Ultra Wormholes, Professor Mon got sucked into the Ultra Wormhole. Oh no! After the incident, Lusamine was determined to find her husband. Yes, we must find him with the studies from the Ultra Beef wormholes. Not realizing that with this drive to her darkest section, that will eventually turn Lusamine into the main villainess in Sun and Moon, and her obsession with the Ultra Beasts. Her obsession with bringing her husband back drives her in some really nasty villainous scheme, which drives her two children away. Oh no! From verbal abuse and controlling behavior. Lusamine has become obsessed with Nihilego, but she will force Lily to dress in a certain way that makes look like Nihilego. Did you know that? So that's how badly the obsession is. She made her daughter dress in the same way as she's obsessed with this Pokemon. Interesting. Lusamine's villainous actions from her obsession has her commit many crimes, which includes perform secret experiments on the Pokemon frozen in their display blocks. Lusamine calls her precious babies and that she wishes to keep them frozen forever. Lusamine got Cosmog drained its energy to open the wormhole, showing that she will do whatever it takes to achieve her goal, even if it almost destroys the Pokemon's inner soul. Interesting fact, the cage that Lusamine keeps Cosmog in is similar design to Necrochrozma, a legendary Pokemon that later appears in the Ultra Sun and Moon. Lusamine into the wormhole, wow! And found her in the darkness dimension, and has merged herself into one of the Ultra Beasts. She's obsessed. Nihilego, which is later explained in Nihilego's parasitic Ultra Beast, leading to a big boss battle. After the long battle, Lusamine Nihilego hybrid, Lusamine would snap off her dark ways and rekindle with her children at the end of the game. Oh, nice and heartwarming. Though she is never seen in the game since, so they find the treatment from Lusamine's merging with Nihilego. Oh no, we want that resolved for sure, as that Ultra Beast has left some poison. Oh, after her scary merging that happened to her. And in closing, yes, Lusamine was driven by obsession, but she found the error of her ways after a long battle in her own mind.
So that was Cosmic Star's choice in a female villain from a JRPG, Lusamine from the Pokemon game Sun and Moon. Not gonna lie, dude, I was kind of hoping to pick Lusamine, but you beat me to it. Anyway, fair game, fair game. Next up, we have a very special guest to the channel, somebody I've worked with before on collaborations. It is none other than the man of the chicken fillets. Chicken fillets.
Enjoying yourselves, I trust?
Oh,
ChickenFillets here, and thank you to UpperNimbus for asking me onto this awesome collaboration to talk about female villains from a JRPG, more specifically our favourites. Now I'm going to add my favourite onto this top 10 list of his, and as you can see right from the beginning, it's Scarlet from Final Fantasy VII. But I'm going to tell you about the Scarlet from Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh, shock horror, I'm talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake again. Anyway, let's see why.
Now, for those unaware, Scarlet is the director of the advanced weaponry section of Shinra, and she is as cold and calculating as it comes. She will use anyone and anything to get what she desires and will always get what she wants. Now, the reason I've gone for Scarlet from Final Fantasy VII Remake over the original Scarlet in the OG FF7 is because the full scale of Scarlet is shown. She's been given more extra life with having a voice actress which matches to boot, and especially with her theme song which just tells it all about Scarlet. Now, although in the main game of Final Fantasy VII Remake she's a minor antagonist, in Final Fantasy VII Intermission, where you play as shuriken-wielding Yuffie Kisaragi, she is the main antagonist who goes up against our Wutai heroes. I cannot wait to see how Scarlet is treated in the next two games, and especially when we have that fight between her and Tifa fully remade. Oh.
Stop. Your timing is impeccably atrocious.
Oh well, Scarlet's telling me off now. I better get going. This has been ChickenFillets, and on to the next one.
So that was John from ChickenFillets' choice for female villain in the JRPG. Scarlet from Final Fantasy VII. What an absolute babe. Cool, man. These choices are just getting better and better. Huh. Would you look at that? It's getting a bit dark out there, isn't it? Well, I better head back to somewhere safe before it gets too dangerous out here. In the meantime, check out our next guest, Public Enema.
Hey everybody, it's Public Enema. Thanks for watching, and my choice for top female villain in RPGs is none other than Queen Zeal from Chrono Trigger. So, full disclosure, I will be going into pretty late game spoilers, so if you're one of the few people in this world who has not played Chrono Trigger, be warned. First, some background on Queen Zeal. She's the ruler of the magical kingdom of Zeal, which is the antiquity region of Chrono Trigger set in around 12,000 BC. And it's far and away the most advanced civilization in the game. And it's really divided in between two sets of peoples. There's the magic users, or the enlightened ones, and then there's the earthbound slaves. And she plays mother to two of the major players in the game, with Shala and then Giannis. She wasn't always evil, but she was driven mad either from the grief of losing her husband King Zeal, or from Lavos' manipulations. It's kind of unclear. Maybe it's both. But she becomes consumed with obtaining more magical power and immortality as a side effect of that. So she has the Mamba machine built and the Ocean Palace built, placed closer to the bottom of the ocean and closer to Lavos, so she can absorb his power for personal gain. And this was all built by the Earthbound ones. Her actions result in Lavos awakening and absolutely just wrecking the party and really setting up so many of the other events in the game. Like Giannis gets shot to the Middle Ages and becomes Magus, and is that first real antagonist that we encounter in the game. And also, you can argue that her actions set up the events of Chrono Cross, based on what happens to Shala. So what makes her a good villain? You know, she's truly evil. I mean, she's enslaved an entire people to do her personal bidding. She uses Shala, her magically gifted daughter, just like a tool. And, you know, when she loses Shala and Yana, she just doesn't care. You know, she loses both of her children, and it doesn't seem to affect her whatsoever. And in fact, if you bring Magus with you to fight her, she doesn't even recognize him as her own son. Also, you know, she actually accomplished what she wanted to do. She did gain magical power beyond reason. She did gain immortality. She's present in the Black Omen from 12,000 BC all the way up to 2300 AD. And also, you know, she stands out as one of the more fun and difficult bosses in the game. She forces you to change your tactics. Up to that point, you know, I'm using Luminaire and Flare and just absolutely nuking everything in my path. But if you use multi-target spells on her, she'll hit you with counterattacks that either drain your HP or magic points all the way down to 1, and it's a real pain in the ass to deal with. There's different music depending on who you bring to the battle. If you bring Magus with you, and you did spare Magus, right? But if you bring him with you, you get his theme in the battle instead of her theme. You can charm the best armor in the game and the best helmets in the game from her if you bring Isla. And you can actually do this up to 3 times depending on what order you go through the Black Omen. And it's interesting because it seems like she's the only character in the game that has this collaborative relationship with Lavos. She worships him and fills him with adoration, and in return she gets basically a portion of his power. I think this is kind of backed up by the point that when Lavos is doing his boss shifting phase, he mimics all the major bosses in the game, but he never mimics Queen Zeal. And is that due to some level of mutual respect between the two of them? Or is it just because technically Queen Zeal is an optional boss and you don't have to go through the Black Omen in order to beat the game? I would argue that she's actually the true antagonist of Chrono Trigger. Yes, Lavos is the final boss, but he's just an alien parasite just trying to exist. He's doing what he's evolved to do. He's not evil, he's surviving. Queen Zeal is the truly evil one. It's her unchecked ambition that's directly responsible for so many of the events of this game. Because of all this, she's the most memorable villain in one of the greatest RPGs ever made. And Chrono Trigger wouldn't be the same without her, and her fingerprints are all over this story, and that's why I think she deserves a spot on this list of best female antagonist in gaming. So that's why Queen Zeal is one of the greatest antagonists in RPGs, period. Thanks to UpperNimbus for putting this collaboration together. It was really fun to work on. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you next time.
That was Public Enemy's choice of Queen Zeal from Chrono Trigger. What a legendary character, my guy. Absolutely loved your segment. Okay, last but not least, our final guest is none other than Just History Guy. Check out his choice of a female villain in a JRPG while I get ready to reveal who I am going to be choosing for the list. Check it out.
Rend, slaughter, devour your enemies. There is no other way to survive. You cannot escape your hunger. Warriors of Purgatory.
Hey everyone, Just History Guy here. And I want to give a huge thanks to UpperNimbus for inviting me to this video. So as you can see, I just played one of the most epic opening lines to a JRPG I've ever heard. Those are the words of Jenna Angel from Digital Devil Saga on the PS2. And henceforth I'll refer to her as Angel. And I'm here to tell you why she's my absolute favorite female villain.
I know you're here!
As the primary antagonist for the first game, and one of the main antagonists for the second, Angel is the most recognizable villain in DDS. And boy does she show why. As the one revealed to be controlling the entirety of the junkyard, the land the game takes place, she remains a mysterious figure for much of the game, being responsible for the rapid changes of the world. From turning everyone into part demons that have to devour others to survive, and pushing the warring factions of the junkyard into reaching the so-called nirvana. Through the game, you learn that Angel has deep relations to your party members. Why does she feel familiar to some, and what does Sarah know? These are all questions sitting at the back of your mind throughout the game. What puts her over the edge for me, though, is her absolute epic final boss fight in the first game. As you climb the tower and have this epic standoff cutscene where it seems everything that was known is ending, you have a great final fight with her. And her awesome design for her demon form that is really unique in the franchise just puts it over the edge, where it really brings a lot of the themes throughout the game into this fight. And one more thing I'll add, the lore of her demon really makes sense after finishing the second game. But I won't go into spoilers there. Jenna Angel is an excellent antagonist to an absolutely fantastic game in Digital Devil Saga. And with that, thanks again for having me on, and on to the next video.
Now, you may be wondering who I've chosen for this top 10 list for a female villain from a JRPG. Now, it is a character / concept you may not have actually thought about. Well, here I am to show you who that may be. Take a look. So where did it all begin? With the Shadow Queen from Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Well, we've got to go back 1,000 years ago before the main events of the game. There was once an ancient kingdom that prospered and flourished, with people from all over the world who lived together in unity. However, one fateful day, a terrible cataclysm destroyed this ancient city, sinking it beneath the Earth's surface, never to be seen ever again. 4 sacred heroes stole the crystal stars from the Shadow Queen's clutches to seal her away behind what is now known as the Thousand Year Door. And that's how the world was saved. Oh, right, she came back. Whoops! Long story short, an evil organization known as the X-Naughts kidnapped Princess Peach, oh no, not again, infiltrated the Palace of Shadows and awoke the Shadow Queen from her slumber, offering Peach as a sacrificial vessel for the ancient demon to possess her body. This is the first time in a Super Mario game that we verse Princess Peach as a villain. Now granted, the princess is possessed, but she still comes across as a villainous figure. No wonder why this story was just so kick-ass for a Mario game. The fact that she's just straight up the concept of evil and darkness. I know it's a bit cliche, but sometimes having a very simple answer to your villain is a very effective way of going about it, especially if the delivery is on point, which it truly is for this type of RPG, and also a breath of fresh air for the Mario games in general. The Shadow Queen comes across as completely invincible, but luckily, the 7 crystal stars Mario had collected on his journey gave him the strength to weaken the Shadow Queen's defenses. Even though we could then damage the Shadow Queen, she was still OP as f***. And I'll tell you what, one of the Shadow Queen's creepiest attacks is when she summons like 1,000 hands and they emerge from the floorboards beneath Mario, essentially dragging him down into the underworld. The Shadow Queen is such a simple concept for a villain, but my god, her ethereal and celestial design is truly magical and captivating. I love the deep purple hues of her galaxy-like body and just her overall aesthetic and appearance. She is both beautiful and completely terrifying, and that is why the Shadow Queen from Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is my all-time favorite female villain from a JRPG and from video games as a whole. I want to thank everybody who was a part of this collaboration. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for sending in your segments and being part of this awesome project. It was so much fun to put together and to try and be as creative as possible with every single one of you guys. Well done. And for you guys in the audience who are watching this video, please go check out everybody's channels and support them. Thank you so much for watching once again. I will catch you on the flip side. UpperNimbus is signing off. See ya!